So I'm walking in my office at the White House, and all of a sudden, Kamala Harris comes up to me. You know, this is a place of business, and the business is the American people. We can't have you hobnobbing with your celebrity friends during work hours. I'm like, what celebrity friends? She's like, Jennifer Lopez has been here for the last hour causing a stir, saying you're late and she needs to talk to you. First of all, I didn't schedule Jennifer Lopez. I scheduled Dana White, and I'm not late. She's like, see, celebrity friends. I'm like, no, me and Dana White were doing a project for the Make-A-Wish Foundation. And she just looked at me and walked away. So I get to my office and I put my stuff down, and then I turn around and look at Jennifer Lopez, and she throws up Cosmo at me. This is your fault. I'm like, what's my fault? We're number 2. Number 2 of what? You know, Hollywood 8 couples, most popular couples in Hollywood. Me and Ben are number 2, and it's because of you. Well, weren't you dating Alex Rodriguez before? Yes. Well, what number were you when you were dating Alex? She's like, oh, we were number 20. So I'm like, well, that sounds like an improvement. You went from 20 to 2. And then she's there, well, I was supposed to be number 1, but because of you and your big mouth, I got knocked to number 2. What did I say to knock you to number 2? I don't even talk to Cosmo. And how do you know that Cosmo had you at number 1? She's like, first of all, Cosmo called me and told me I was supposed to be number 1 and wanted a comment. I made my comment, and then all of a sudden, the magazine comes out and I'm number 2. And when I called Cosmo to ask what happened, they said it was because of you and your big fucking mouth. So what did I say? She's like, well, you told everybody that Mike Tyson and Betty White were dating. And once everyone found out they were dating, Cosmo had no choice but to make them number 1 and me and Ben Affleck number 2. Well, how is it my fault that Betty White's more popular than you? Well, if you had shut your fucking mouth and waited a week or two, the magazine could have came out, I would have got my number 1 spot, and everything would have been good. But no, you couldn't wait. You had to open your big fucking mouth. I'm like, oh boy. So what do you want me to do? You need to call Cosmo and tell him that you were wrong. But they are dating. I'm not wrong. Well, I need you to call them and tell them and take it back. I'm like, you know what? I have another call. So obviously I need to tell that person that I need to reschedule them, and then we can come back and discuss this. She's like, okay, go ahead and do what you got to do. And of course, Dana White was on hold. He heard everything. So he's like, is that Jennifer Lopez? I was like, yep. You know, is she talking smack about my younger sister, Betty White? I'm like, your younger sister? How old are you? He's like, oh, $105. I'm like, you're 105 years old? You look great. What's your secret? He's like, you don't want to know that. I'm like, yeah, I do. 105. That's amazing. He goes, well, every day, first thing after I wake up, I have snake whiskey and egg soup. I was like, together? He's like, yeah, I do it all the time. And that's the secret to you living to 105. He's like, yes, if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't have made it a day past 90. Well, you UFC guys will do anything for an edge. He's like, yeah. He's like, yep. He's like, well, you know, Jennifer Lopez is pretty pissed. I'm like, yeah, she is. You think Betty White, Jennifer Lopez UFC match will work? I'm like, yeah, that sounds like a great idea. And we know Betty White will do it because, you know, she's a badass. That's why she's the cartel's top enforcer. So let me ask Jennifer. So I go come out, and she's gone. So I asked the Secret Service guy, well, what happened to J-Lo? He's like, well, once he heard Betty White, once she heard Betty White and fight, she took off running. I'm like, no, yeah, she was sprinting. She should have been in the Olympics. Like, oh. Then we hear this noise. We run to the window. People are jumping out of the way as J-Lo in her convertible is getting out of town. As quick as she could, she was getting out of that off White House grounds. So I come back to Dana White. I'm like, I don't think that's gonna work. He's like, well, why? What's the problem? We can pay her what she wants. I'm like, no. Once you heard Betty White fight, she took flight. He's like, that's disappointing. I know. We would have made some money. So he hangs up, and I'm just sitting there. My day's already ruined. So if you want to know why Jennifer Lopez does not like me, now you know.